Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Johnny, or I believe the translation on Australian would be "Good day, mate. How you going?" Hey, you like that? That's pretty much all I know about Australia. With that said and in mind, ladies and gentlemen, today we are learning about the great nation of Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, Geography Now Australia. This comes from the channel Geography Now. I've got a link to the channel down below, the Geography Now channel down below, as well as the video Geography Now Australia. So before we get started, I want to make sure we give the proper credits to the people who made the video, which is Geography Now. We've done a few different videos from different countries and nations that Geography Now has covered. And today we're doing Australia. I don't really know very much about Australia. I've heard it's like the Texas of the Southern Hemisphere. I'm from Texas, so I'm already all about it. Here's kind of what I know. I know lots of muscle cars. I know about Holden. Obviously, like the animals, like dangerous animals and koalas and kangaroos and all that other good shit. I know Crocodile Dundee was like supposed to be from Australia, or I think he is. Steve Irwin. But really, as far as the actual country itself is concerned, I don't know anything about Australia, and I feel bad because I have some Australian friends. Kaja, hello, by the way, if you see this. But yeah, I don't really know anything, and I feel bad about that. So we're gonna start fixing our wrongs today, ladies and gentlemen. Geography Now Australia. Like I said, links to the original videos down below. Make sure you give them some love, subscribe, go do all that good stuff. When you're done with that, if you want to subscribe for me too, it'd be much appreciated. So enough talking. Let's go ahead and check this out. Geography Now Australia. I'm excited. I wonder, like, what do people in Australia eat? Like, not shrimp on the barbie, like, but I mean, like, what do they actually eat? Like, just meat, right? I don't know. Let's find out.
All right, everybody, let's just all get it off of our chests. Koalas and kangaroos, boomerangs, didgeridoos, Sydney, Melbourne, Uluru, crocodiles, cockadoos, everything that will kill you. Shrimp on Barbies, that's not true.
Literally everything that I said, he just said. Oh, and Vegemite. I've heard of Vegemite too. I heard to a lot of people it tastes like fermented dog shit, but I've never had it. And I know a lot of people like Vegemite too. I've also heard if you eat it in like a small quantity on some toast and not like a big spoonful, it's supposed to be better. I don't know. Maybe we'll try Vegemite one day.
That Vegemite stuff that tastes like poo, coral reefs and platypuses, platypi. Platypus. All right, now let's actually learn about the freaking country.
All right.
It's time to learn geography now!
We're doing
I'm your
HD.
host, Paul Barbado. Today's going to be Australia. You know the drill. Let's dissect the flag.
Let's do it. The Australian flag, I think it's the colonies, right? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colonies. The original colonies.
The Australian flag has a blue field with a Union Jack on the upper hoist corner to represent that it was a former colony and a current Commonwealth of the United Kingdom, with a large star under it representing the Commonwealth, and the 5 stars on the right, the Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, Crucis, to the right representing the Southern Cross Constellation.
Epsilon
All right,
males.
that was fun. Now let's discuss
Southern Cross
about
Constellation.
the borders. Now, obviously, as an island nation, or rather large one, but
I was gonna say, border? What?
an island, Australia doesn't have any borders with any other nations, but that doesn't mean that Australia doesn't have some rather intriguing parameters. The country divides itself up in a rather intriguing way. Like the US, Australia has states, not provinces. There is a difference.
That's right.
6 of them, and each one kind of has their own little flair and quirks, like Tasmania, known for being crazy. The things that are a little interesting, though, are the territories. Australia has 3 domestic internal territories and 6 overseas territories. Technically 7 if you include the Australian Antarctic Territory, even though the Antarctic Treaty kind of bans anybody from claiming Antarctic soil as their own, which we will find out in future episodes that a lot of countries do a wonderful job at ignoring. The 3 internal territories.
Wait. Antarctica has like a... It's like a storied history. Anyway, it's not about Antarctica. We're doing Australia. Focus.
Our Northern Territory, Capital Territory, which is basically just the capital city of Canberra and some extra space around it, and the confusing little tyke Jervis Bay Territory. Jervis Bay was bought and developed to give the inland capital Canberra access to the sea, and eventually Jervis Bay split from the capital. However, it's still counted as part of the capital in elections. It's
What the hell?
confusing, even though it really doesn't have
Yeah,
much going for it.
I did not follow that at all. I'm gonna rewind it just a little bit because I didn't follow that. I couldn't. It's going way too fast.
Capital Canberra access to the sea, and eventually Jervis Bay split from the capital. However, it's still counted as part of the capital in elections. It's a little confusing, even though it really doesn't have much going for it, except for a small navy base and beaches that it kind of took from other neighboring towns. The most dramatic border area, though, would have to be the middle of Australia. For years, this slab of land didn't exactly quite know how to distinguish itself and has gone through 4 transitions in the past century. First, it was all South Australia, which didn't quite make sense because parts of it touched the northern parts of Australia, so it split into 2, 1 state and 1 territory. Then for 4 years, it became South Australia and 2 territories, the new one being called Central Australian Territory, and finally it changed its mind and went back to being Northern Territory. Central Australia is kind of like your girlfriend at a restaurant. What do you want? What do you want? It's not that simple! Finally, we reached the overseas territories. Although Australia has over 8,000 islands under its sovereignty, 6 of these islands operate as distinct territories, some of which sustain themselves with permanent populations. They are Ashmore and Cartier, the Cocos or Keelings Islands, Coral Sea Islands.
Whoa, look at the water on this thing. Can we rewind it frame by frame? Look at the water inside of here. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Holy crap. That would be a sweet place to go for a vacation. I wonder if you can even get there. Probably, right? Because otherwise, never mind. That's a dumb question. You can definitely get there. I don't know if it's a vacation spot, but you can definitely get there. Somehow.
Coral Sea Islands, the Heard and McDonald Islands, and the popular holiday spot, Norfolk.
Heard and McDonald? Shouldn't that be Heard and Macca Island? Heard and Macca's Island?
Islands, and the popular holiday spot, Norfolk Island, and the pleasant Christmas Island that gets attacked by huge coconut crabs every year. Finally, Australia is home to arguably the most micronation.
Like I've heard of those crabs before. I didn't know. I guess I didn't realize they were like not necessarily attached to Australia directly, like physically.
In the world. Places like the Principality of Wye, Rainbow Creek, the Empire of Atlantium, and more. These nations were developed by either small groups of people or a single person because they were doing things like protesting taxes and wanted to claim autonomy, or they were just kind of bored and decided to amuse themselves. But still, hey, they tried. All right, now let's talk about the landscape, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, not all of Australia is a desert, okay? Only about 35%. Okay.
Like this would be the more interesting part, the geography. This is not... What is it? 35% of it isn't like the Australian outback crazy dangerous. Like I've heard that if you go too far into the outback, you're basically dead, right? I guess that makes sense too for like any desert, like the Sahara or the Gobi. Like if you go too far in, you're probably dead. So, let's see. Let's see what you gotta say.
Antarctica, Australia is the driest continent on the planet, which explains why, yes, 85% of the population lives along the edges of the country within 50 kilometers of the coast.
That makes
Nonetheless,
sense.
a lot of places, specifically around the coasts, actually have very temperate and even tropical landscapes.
Really?
By the north, you find tropical zones and wetlands and rainforests. By the far edges on the east and west, you can find subtropical zones with lighter forests and plains. A little bit inland, close to the interior, you find grasslands and flat stretches of semi-arid terrain. In the southeast by Sydney, you find temperate, cooler, arid land with semi-tropical yet slightly dry areas with an abundance of trees and plants. Then of course you have Tasmania, which is on a completely different level of green. Then we reach the deep interior where we hit the Great Desert.
I want to hear more about Tasmania. Why is he not? What do I know about Tasmania? Can you guess what it is? Can you guess what it is?
Like the Great Victoria and the Great Sandy Deserts. This area is famously known as the Outback. The Outback is essentially the area of Australia with long open stretches of red and orange desert that lays out beyond the horizon with few sparse populations of people that can be found anywhere. It has a dry, rocky, rugged terrain that everybody assumes is teeming with a variety of...
Is that a Komodo dragon? No, Komodo dragons aren't in Australia, are they? I thought they were like Pacific Island?
Teeming with a variety of poisonous insects and reptiles, and, well, I mean, it kind of is, but still, there's more to it than just that. Oh, and don't forget Lake Hillier, that strange lake that is mysteriously naturally pink for some strange reason that baffles scientists. Now, if there's one thing that really epitomizes Australia, it would have to be its world-renowned beaches and coasts. People flock from all over the world just to enjoy the beautiful, pristine atmosphere of a real, authentic Australian beach. Just remember to put on your sunscreen, though. Australians actually kind of have a joke where they can tell who the ignorant tourists are. It's usually especially the ones who think they'll be totally fine sitting out in the sun for more than 20
Wow.
minutes. Skin cancer rates are actually exceptionally high in Australia, and the population has
Look at that
knowledge of
water,
precautions
man.
they need to take. Now, we all know that Australia is home to some of the most unique and curiously distinct animal species in the world not found anywhere else. However, Australia is also known as the home of many feral species. Australia has over 50 invasive species that were brought over to the land from areas mostly in Europe, and over the course of
Rabbits. I feel like I've heard of that before. I feel like I've heard that rabbits were invasive to Australia. I thought, and then they released snakes, right? I don't know.
nearly 1.5 centuries,
Let's see what he has to say.
and spread like wildfire all over the country. Animals like the European rabbit, red fox, water buffaloes, goats, pigs, even camels, and worst of all, the famous cane toad. They've all gone wild and have cost the Australian government billions of dollars in environmental
YOLO.
damages. Yeah, I don't really know how to transition into the demographics from this part, so here's demographics. Today, Australia has a population of about 23 million people.
That's it?
Now, to many outsiders, Australia is kind of known as the place where the British sent their prisoners. First of all, that's rude. Second of all, that's only like kind of half true. Yes, during the early years of Australia's colonization from the UK, droves of convicts were sent to penal colonies in Botany Bay, which is now in present-day Sydney. Over 165,000 convicts, about 25,000 of which were women, were sent over the course of 80 years. Although the British weren't the first ones to discover Australia, it was actually the Dutch. As they came, they named the land New Holland and the adjacent island next door New Zealand after the province of Zeeland in the Netherlands. However, as we'll soon discover, the Dutch were really good at discovering places, but kind of not so good at colonizing and maintaining those places for themselves. However, most of Australia's population came from natural colonization from British non-convict nationals. Some would argue that Australia was kind of like the UK's version of Operation Backup Plan in case of America goes crazy. After the American Revolution, the UK tried to compensate for lost colonies by re-establishing new ones, and Australia was hot on the list. About 85% of the population is European. Asians make up the next largest minority of about 12%, mostly coming from China and India and other Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam and the Philippines. And by the way, yes, Australia does have black people, not many, but before the Federation began, Africans, mostly from sub-Saharan countries like South Africa, Mauritius, Zimbabwe, and Sudan, have historically resided in Australia. It wasn't until the 60s when African assistance programs allowed many Africans to study and eventually move to Australia. And today, they make up about 1% of the population. One demographic of people that commonly gets overlooked, though, would have to be the native Australians, commonly known as the Aborigines, which make up about 3% of the population.
Oh, wow.
Aborigines are a very unique and distinct people group that come from hundreds of different tribes, each with their own language and dialect, spread throughout the north, south, and central regions. Today, Aboriginal rights are a huge hot-button topic in Australian legislation, and about 22% of the land of northern Australia.
I think the rapper Lisi, I think he has some Aboriginal origination. I think he's partly Aborigines, I think. But I think Lisi is part of, I could be wrong. Actually, no, he's from New Zealand. So he might be, though. Can you be Can you be Aborigin? You know what I'm saying. Can you be and from New Zealand? Does that exist? I guess because New Zealand has natives too, right? I know this is about Australia, but I'm just trying to connect with what I know. So if you know the answer, let me know. Comments down below.
Aboriginal owned. In 2013, Aboriginal groups actually banded together and decided to kind of make their own little state called the Murawari Republic, independent from Australia. The Australian government, though, doesn't really recognize this claim and just kind of brushes it off with a meh, as long as you don't cause a civil war attitude. Well, as you can see, a lot of people have come to live in Australia, but now let's see how Australia interacts with the rest of the world.
Nice, here we go.
Australia
the friend zone. Been there.
Very simply, a very popular country. If this was high school, Australia would be on the top of the social ladder, hands down. Everybody knows something about Australia. When it comes to friends, though, Australia not only goes for the cool kids, but also the strategic ones. Of course, Australia gets along with many of its Asian neighbor nations, specifically China and India, as large numbers of people from those nations live in Australia, and they do great business with them as well. Australia gets along pretty well with the islands of Oceania, except Fiji. In 2006, Australia refused to back up a military coup that overthrew the government in Fiji.
Really?
And since then, things have been a little weird between the two countries. In terms of their best friends though, of course, New Zealand would have to rank in the top level, and they are basically like siblings that share a very similar culture, language, and histories as former colonies, whereas the UK also has a high priority on Australia's entourage as they make up the largest demographic of people ethnically and as migrants in the country. But finally, we reach the USA. The USA and Australia kind of have a little crush on each other. Australia is always there to back up the US in times when allies are necessary, and the US, well, I mean, we Americans, we just love Australians. We love their accents, we love their culture, we love their accents, we love their spunky Australian attitude, and we love their sexy, sexy accents. Almost any Australian...
I feel attacked. It's not like he's wrong, but he described it so perfectly. I don't know why Australian accents are just so fluid. They're so buttery. I just love it. I can listen to somebody from Australia speak constantly, dude. Love it. Love it.
That comes to the US
Loves
is
it.
immediately loved and welcome, even if they are slightly sociopathic. One sentence with that accent and we are smitten. We love you, Australia. In conclusion, Australia is just, everybody loves Australia. Stay tuned. Austria is coming up next.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. He kind of hit the nail on the head there. I do love Australia. I wish I knew more. I know it's only a 10-minute video, but I kind of feel bad every time I explore a new country and start to learn more about it. I'm like, damn, dude, as an American, I'm so isolated from getting to experience or learn about other cultures because we're just so far up our own asses about like just being American. So I start to feel guilty, man. So I watched this, about 10 minutes of very basic information, and I feel like I've exponentially increased my knowledge about Australia. But he's right about a lot of it. I do love the Aussies. Now don't worry, I'm not gonna continue the accent. Or I'll just wait. I'm gonna stop before I offend somebody. I don't want y'all to think, ew. I want y'all to think I'm just some dummy making fun of y'all. Dude, that was cool. I would like to go to Australia, but apparently the flights are like 30 hours long or something. And it's in the southern hemisphere. I've never been in the southern hemisphere. That's what I should do. I should plan a trip to Australia. If you want to donate to my trip to Australia, you let me know. Or if I can come stay with you. If I can come stay with you in Australia, you let me know. That'd be very nice too. I would expect a nice kangaroo steak. Can you even eat kangaroos? I feel like they probably have a lot of parasites in them. Aren't kangaroos really mean too? I know kangaroos are buff as hell, dude. I know kangaroos will jack you up, dude. And they got big claws and stuff. Beat you up and stuff you in their pouch. Take you away to the outback. Eat your butt for breakfast. Okay, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate y'all. Let me know, comments down below. Let me know what you think. Are you from Australia? What do you think about the US? Can I come over? Can I sleep in your house? Can I sleep in your bed? Will you cuddle me? Okay, enough, we're done. Thank you so much again. If you like the video, thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see some more, be cool. If not, I'm just glad you're here for this one, be cool too. Or that's cool too. English is not good for me today. Socials, I got all my socials. Where are they at? Right over here. At jonnyzetatv on all of them. I literally just added this thing, so I don't know where to point. Nope. Bing, 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 bing. At jonnyzetatv on all the big socials. Links down below to those as well. If you want to join Discord, I got a Discord and Patreon. Everybody on Patreon, thank you so much for all your support. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you. If you want to join Patreon, I got a link down below as well. So that's it for me. See y'all soon. Y'all have a good day. Love y'all. Bye.